We're back in Buffalo, New York, where we've been looking at how people here are weathering the latest economic storm. But decades of corporate-friendly globalization have taken a toll on many American workers and many iconic American industries, like the famous blue crab of Maryland. Here's a global story now that will connect the dots from Virginia's Chesapeake Bay to the warm oceans of Southeast Asia.
That's all I know. That's all I wanted to do. I graduated high school, that was as far as it went. I just wanted to get out on the water.
On Tangier Island in Chesapeake Bay, human livelihoods depend on a little blue crab. It pays the mortgage, puts food on the table. But the world has caught up with those who fish the Chesapeake Bay crab. Caught on the front lines of globalization and environmental mismanagement, people like Chuck Pruitt know that their way of life is fading.
Ow! They're trying to get me! Oh boy! I love the job, but it's getting so now, you know, it's getting harder every year to make a living. We have to work harder. The older I get, the harder I'm working, and that's not supposed to be. We've got foreign crab meat coming in from Indonesia, and their labor is so much cheaper than American labor, and they're able to sell it cheaper, and it's taking an impact on the selling the crab meat in this area.
Stocks of blue crab are dwindling, pollution and development contributing to the lowest crab harvests in decades. Add to that the price of fuel, and the equation is bleak.
Fuel prices is skyrocketed. Maybe 5 years ago we were paying like $1.50 a gallon. Now we're paying $4 a gallon. We're barely making it.
The town of Crisfield still calls itself the seafood capital of the world, but dozens of crab businesses have closed down, and the processing plants that once lined the waterfront have been replaced with luxury condos. The only plant left in Crisfield is Me Tompkins Seafood. It now imports 80% of its crab meat from Southeast Asia.
My grandfather would have understood it. He was a fisherman and he went where the fish were. The fish were in the upper bay, they went and fished the upper bay. When the fish were in the south bay, they fished the south bay. Only the distances have become greater. Where the crab is now in Asia, we go where the crab is.
Since 1995, the average crab consumption by Americans has almost doubled, an appetite that has to be fed. And so the U.S. market has been flooded with foreign crab meat, with imports tripling in the last 7 years.
It is a sign of the times that the amount of seafood produced in the United States is limited. Population is growing. As we become wealthier and demand more variety in our seafood products, it has to come from somewhere. So coming from overseas is a likely candidate.
For Tangier, the end of an era is tearing the very soul from a community. The island's population is at an all-time low.
If the water business dies out on Tangier Island will be destroyed.
As the United States descends into recession, those who fish crab already know what it feels like.
A lot of my friends is going off the water. The last 4 or 5 years, they're all going on tugboats.
But for Chuck and some others of his generation, change is not an option. There is only life on the bay as two endangered species play out the endgame together.
This is all I want to do till I die. This has always been my passion, crabbing.
This week, we've been looking at how Americans are dealing with recession, from the inner city of Buffalo to the waters of Chesapeake Bay. And one thing we've heard over and over again is that spiraling gas prices are an incredible burden for people who are living in a society which is, after all, organized around the automobile. Well, imagine being a trucker and paying more than $1,000 every time you fill up your rig. That's reality for Michael J.B. Schaffner. He and about 100 other truckers recently led a convoy to Washington, D.C. to protest high gas prices. Here's his story in his own words.
It's something that is just so devastating and impacting. You know, it's like our government has been sitting there with a spoon and this medicine going, take it, take it, take it. take it.
That's fine.
All right, 10-4. My name is Michael J.B. Schaffner. I've been driving this rig for 4.5 years. The kind of freight that we carry is anything and everything that fits in the box, from ATVs to toolboxes, car parts, pharmaceutical, ramen noodle, canned food, frozen food, fresh cut beef, chicken, pork, clothes, letters, Christmas presents, you name it, we haul it. I have two 120-gallon tanks. When I fuel up this truck, I buy anywhere from 135 to 175, 180 gallons. Just even at $4 a gallon, you know, I mean, you buy 200 gallons, you're looking at $800. At least once a day. Yesterday, I filled up twice. It takes that fuel to transport that commodity from where it's attained to where it needs to be processed. And there's a cost in that. We can't just absorb it, you know, and take the hit on all this and make our families, you know, suffer for and to the point of where we can't afford anything to keep the prices the same. So we've got to raise our costs. So eventually, when it comes onto the shelves, there's going to be an additional cost as well, because that cost is passed on to the retailer, and then the retailer passes that additional cost plus a little bit of theirs, and the government jumping in on the bandwagon. You know, they pass it on to the consumer. Who's the consumer? We are. From the information that I've learned, it's the manipulation that is, and the speculators on Wall Street and the representatives of the people who own all the oil companies, they're the ones causing the increase in the price. If we were all to just stop and show those people who have learned how to manipulate those processes that we're not going to take it anymore, fly our flag, support this movement, and if we have to, completely stop buying and shut down.
Lower the fuel prices!
There would be a tremendous economic hiccup, at least a hiccup. You just gotta hope and pray, I guess, that whoever gets elected has enough compassion in their heart to not allow themselves to become disconnected from the needs and the events that actually happen within this country, the borders of this country.
That's all the time we have for this week's edition of Inside USA. From Niagara Falls, New York, until next time, so long.